His words have danced off pages and delighted the ears of children for over 50 years, and he's fostered a love of poetry in hundreds of classrooms around the world. Acclaimed writer Lee Bennett Hopkins is a true treasure that now calls the Sunshine State home, where he lives with his partner Charles. It's not hard to find yourself at ease sitting with him, with his contagious laugh and vivid recollection of his life stories. We had the chance to visit his spectacular home, walk his gardens, admire his collection of art, and sit down to talk about his life, his work, and his legacy, having turned 80 this year. Born in Scranton, Pennsylvania in 1938, Hopkins grew up in a poor but close family. The oldest child in the family, Hopkins had to help out with the family finances, often missing school so he could work. Though the family was able to get on its feet again and rent a basement apartment, relations soon deteriorated between Hopkins' parents, leading to separation. The circumstances of his youth would later play a prominent part in his fiction writing for young adults.
I had been working on a professional book with Scholastic magazines, and they hired me, and that's how I started writing.
His call to poetry came naturally, and he knew the method to deliver messages that could stay with the reader would be best remembered through verse.
I started my career as a sixth grade teacher. I found that poetry worked with all levels, particularly children who could not read well. Vocabulary is usually simple. And I always maintain that more can be said or felt in 8 or 10 lines than sometimes an entire novel can. And it's poignant, and it's brief, and it has a lot of punch.
Just talking about his first published book entitled Don't You Turn Back brings pure joy to his face and even more emotion as he reminisces about its meaning, including one of his favorite poems by poet Langston Hughes.
But this poem again is 8 lines, and it says everything I want children to hear. It's called Dreams.
Hopkins' influences were vast, but certain writers' words resonated with him as he started out.
I was influenced by poets who talked to me like Langston Hughes, Carl Sandburg, Walt Whitman, who were actually, I maintain, were poets of the people. They wrote about people like me, the average person. A good friend of mine was Dr. Seuss. We were very close. P.L. Travers, who wrote Mary Poppins, Julie Andrews, the actress Beverly Cleary, Roald Dahl. These became, Shel Silverstein, these became good friends of mine throughout my life.
And the mutual admiration of work and respect among his peers can be seen in the very personal notes written in signed copies of some of those authors, like Shel Silverstein and Dr. Seuss, whose signed books rest on the bookshelves in his office. It's here where he still writes, with works completed and scheduled for publishing through 2021. And the process for him remains the same today, with the addition of a computer.
I like to draft pencil and paper. I'm doing more on the computer now than ever, but I like the feeling of pencil on paper. And then I transfer it to the screen, and then I edit it on the computer.
The influence that Hopkins has had on other poets and writers is immense, with hundreds of writers having gotten their big break or start in one of his many anthologies. His body of work is so vast that he's in the Guinness Book of World Records, recognized as the world's most prolific anthologist of poetry for children. Fellow poets and writers can be found in numerous videos online.
My name is Alan Wolf, and I love Lee Bennett Hopkins.
Singing their praise for the man whose awards include induction into the Florida Artists Hall of Fame in 2017 and being awarded many others. But even with all his achievements and accolades, there is still one thing that trumps all of those.
The best award is a letter from a child telling them that they read your book.
You still get those?
Oh my God, yes. Many, many, many.
That's awesome.
It's marvelous.
As he continues to write and collect other great poetry to create anthologies, Lee Bennett Hopkins remains passionate about keeping his craft relevant and inspiring future generations. And the words from one of his signature poems sums up the greatness of this humble man and the greatness of his way with words.
It's called Good Books, Good Times. Good books, good times, good stories, good rhymes, good beginnings, good end, good people, good friends, good fiction, good fact, good adventures, good acts, good stories, good rhymes, good books, good times. It's interesting, it's 32 words and 16 of them are good.